You're digging through an old jar of change. Maybe it's on your nightstand, in your car, or buried in a dusty box in the garage. You pull out a dull, dirty quarter from 1965. Nothing special, right? Just another old coin that's been tossed around for nearly 60 years. But what if I told you that this exact coin, a 1965 quarter, old, grimy, and ignored, could secretly be worth $110,000 to $200,000, or even an astonishing $500,000? And today, you're about to discover why some 1965 quarters are so rare. What mistakes the U.S. Mint made that turned ordinary coins into absolute treasures, and how you can check your own coins to see if you're holding one of the most valuable quarters in American history. So buckle up, because by the end of this guide, you'll never look at pocket change the same way again. Why the 1965 quarter is so special. The story of the 1965 quarter begins with chaos, literal economic chaos, in the United States Mint. The silver crisis of the 1960s. By 1964, Americans were hoarding silver coins. Rising silver prices made the metal inside U.S. coins more valuable than their face value. People stored them in boxes, buried them, melted them, and emptied them from circulation as fast as they could. The U.S. Mint was in trouble. People were hoarding faster than they could produce. Drastic action. Removing silver from coins. In 1965, the government made a huge decision. Stop making 90% silver quarters and switch to a copper-nickel clad composition. This change marked the end of an era and the accidental beginning of one of the most valuable coin mistakes ever made. The transition problem during the switch. Millions of blank silver planchets, the metal discs used to make coins, were still sitting inside mint machinery, mixed in with the new clad metal stock. And that's when the extremely valuable mistakes happened. The rarest 1965 quarter, struck on a silver pin, the most valuable type of 1965 quarter, the one that can reach $110,000 to $200,000 or even $500,000, is the 1965 quarter accidentally struck on a 90% silver planchet. These silver planchets were meant for 1964 quarters, but somehow got fed into the presses stamping 1965 coins. Weigh 6.25 grams. Clad quarters weigh 5.67 g. Have a distinct silver, ringing sound. Like the copper-colored edge found on all normal clad quarters appears slightly different in color and luster. Just imagine someone in the 1960s spending one of these by accident. Millions of people handled them without knowing, and one might still be sitting in someone's junk drawer. Or yours. Auction highlights: a high-grade example sold for $411,000. Another brought over $200,000. The finest known specimen is valued at over $500,000. These numbers are jaw-dropping, but the story gets even better. 1965 quarter struck on a 90% silver dime planchet. These are wild-looking errors. The coin is slightly smaller and missing part of the design. Values range from $5,000 to $25,000 plus, depending on condition. 1965 quarter struck on a copper cent planchet. These are reddish-colored and look bizarre. Value: $7,000 to $15,000 plus. Off-center strikes. Major. If the strike is 50% off-center or more, these can range from $500 to $5,000 plus. Double-struck or multi-struck errors very rare for 1965 quarters. Values: $1,000 to $10,000 plus. Broad strikes / missing rims not as dramatic, but still collectible. $200 to $1,000 plus. Why a dirty or old-looking 1965 quarter could still be incredibly. One of the most surprising facts about these rare quarters is that they can be grimy, circulated, dirty, or even scratched, and still worth thousands. Mint errors are valuable no matter the condition. Even low-grade error coins command big prices. Silver errors weigh more even when worn. Serious collectors want authenticity over shine. Rarity beats beauty every time. So if your 1965 quarter looks like it was scraped across concrete, ran through a lawn mower, and survived the apocalypse, don't count it out. How to check your 1965 quarters, step by step. Weigh the coin. Use a small digital jewelry scale. Correct weight for valuable silver error. Right arrow around 6.25 grams normal clad weight. Right arrow 5.67 grams. Even a dirty coin will show the right weight. Look at the edge a silver error quarter will have. Heavy checkmark, solid silver-colored edge, heavy multiplication X, no copper stripe. Check the sound, drop it gently on wood or another coin. Coin nerds call this the ping test. Silver quarters ring sharply and brightly. Clad quarters sound dull. Check for weird dimensions. If it's smaller or larger than normal, it may be struck on the wrong planchet. Compare with online images of known errors. You'd be surprised how clearly you can spot similarities once you know what to look for. If it looks promising, don't clean. IT cleaning destroys value. Even dirt is okay. Authentication services want untouched metal. The full history of the 1965 quarter. Let's take a deeper dive into the story behind these coins. Why silver planchets were still present even after switching to clad metal. The mint still had leftover silver blank stockpiles in multiple mint buildings. Planchets stuck in tote bins. Coins trapped inside machinery. Mint workers did not realize some silver rounds were being fed through the stamping presses. This tiny mistake is why a handful of 1965 silver quarters exist, and why they are now some of the most valuable modern U.S. coins ever struck. Why these coins sell for such massive you might wonder. Why does a 1965 quarter reach $110,000, $200,000, or even $500,000 plus? Extreme rarity, barely any exist. Historical importance, they mark the transition from silver to clad coinage. Collector demand, every serious U.S. coin collector wants one. Condition amplifies value. Highest quality examples get astronomical bids. Transitional errors are legendary. They represent some of the most dramatic mint mistakes ever. These forces combined create the perfect storm for sky-high prices. What your 1965 quarter could be worth. A normal 1965 quarter value: 25 cents to $1. Even dirty, worn, or old. Still common, a 1965 silver QR worn condition: $3,500 to $10,000. Mid-grade: $20,000 to $75,000. High-grade: $100,000 to $200,000. Finest known: $500,000 plus. Other 1965 errors: off metal planchet errors: $7,000 to $25,000 plus. Major off centers: $1,000 to $5,000. Dramatic double strikes: $3,000 to $15,000. The 1965 quarter is one of the greatest stories in modern U.S. coin collecting. It represents a moment in history when the mint changed the course of American currency and accidentally created some of the most valuable mint errors ever known. One of these rare quarters could be sitting unnoticed in a dusty jar, an old drawer, or your pocket right now. A dirty, beat-up coin worth tens of thousands. A grimy old quarter worth over $110,000. A rare silver error worth $200,000. Or the truly exceptional piece valued at $500,000 or more. And that excitement, the possibility, the treasure hunt, is why collectors all over the world continue searching.